Do you remember when everyone was doing live Zoom? Like they'd almost put their same format of doing classes or one-to-ones into Zoom.
Yep.
And they might have had 6 people that would have attended a class on Zoom. You're there with your dog doing the demo. They practice, right?
Yep.
So that's what most people were doing. I hated that idea. I absolutely, that was like, there's no way I'm doing that. Like, why would I want to just be in my living room with my dog and showing people it's not the same? So in my mind, I was going, I don't like that. I don't think that people are going to get the most out of it because I don't like it, and it's going to show, and it probably would have done if I'd have done it, I'm sure. So
yeah, she's very obvious with things that she doesn't like doing.
Yeah, I am. So therefore, if I do it in a nice environment like a field, and I've got the space and I've got the freedom to be me and actually do that training in the way that I would try and deliver it in the location I would normally do it in,
Yeah.
I saw that the similarities were closer.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, had I done that with the Zoom and chatted them through and coached them through and answered any questions and been able to be there live with people effectively, how much more of a better service would that have been for people? But I couldn't get out of my own head. And I couldn't... You're right. Vicky bashing podcast is this. But I couldn't. And I was like, no, I don't like it. I don't think that people will like it either. Are people actually going to be enjoying doing things in their living room? And then I was like, I've got an online course. Where else are they going to be doing it if they're not watching it? And they're probably watching it in their living rooms or on their laptops. It's the same thing. Yeah, so that was number 1. And then number 2, I think I could have made it work with the format I'd got if I'd have delivered it live each week as well. So if I'd have gone on maybe a Facebook group and gone in there live and answered any Q&As, or dropped a module every week, a class week every week, if that makes sense, like I would have done if they'd attended a class, that could have worked. And I think that's where we've got to look at that hybrid approach, haven't we, and go, maybe the videos are brilliant, but are the videos on their own enough? Do we need some accountability? Do we need some connection with people and community aspect, and everybody's going through the same thing you are, so that they can bounce ideas off each other? Oh, I'm really struggling with this. Oh, okay, well, I tried this. Maybe it'll work. Oh, great, thanks. That's what people would do in real life, wouldn't they? When they chat at the end of a class, or, you know?
Yeah.
But again, it was like completely missed the point with it. And I could have made that without too much extra work from me. And let's face it, I was doing nothing anyway. So I easily could have had the time to do that. But I wasn't thinking of the customer. I was thinking of me, and I was being selfish and going, here you go, I've done this thing. I've put my all into it. Buy it.
So where do you think this passive income thing has come from then, of recent months?
What we're seeing, you mean?
Yeah. Or
do you think it's the people who are doing it really well out in the marketplace?
Possibly.
Like Socks.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of new stuff coming out from Socks at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, and let's face it, Socks is awesome.
It's great.
The delivery of it is next level, and they really have crafted such a beautiful space in that online arena. But I think that is down to they know their audience so well, and ultimately a lot of you listening will be their audience. Like you're a trainer, same way like you're listening to us, like you're our audience as well. And when you understand your audience fully, which is like one of these foundational pillars that we're always going on about, it makes everything a bit easier in terms of how you approach any delivery of any service that you're going to do. I think Absolute Dogs probably had a big impact again in the online space because they were targeting pet owners. Like they were all very much predominantly dog owners, weren't they? And then they kind of span off and did professionals and made a killing from all that.
The difference with Absolute Dogs, though, is that they were they were different in love or hate Absolute Dogs.
Yeah.
I think they were amazing, and their marketing was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Like they just came out of nowhere, it seemed, and they took the whole marketplace.
Business-wise, it was
amazing.
epic.
But also, not only did you might look at their videos and go, well, they were self-paced and they were like just work your way through them, like the training academy and stuff. Like I had that for years. I only recently got rid of that actually when all the shit hit the fan. But they were very present as well. They would do live in-person stuff. They'd got a venue, hadn't they, that they used. They had I went on like a road show with them, like in Birmingham. They did like,
Yeah.
it was in Moseley in Birmingham, and they did like these road shows almost. I'm thinking of like the 90s road shows. And they would appear and they'd do all this stuff. So although you're working through it, they were very with you, and they would come on live and they would answer Q&As in that Facebook group. So you had that like reason to kind of get motivated by them, didn't you? That was the difference with them.
You can't overlook how much work they put into selling those programs.
They did, and they were very cleverly done as well.
Yeah.
The
Like
upsells were awesome.
Gotcha. But like you already mentioned, like the road shows, it's like, well, they're going out and they're creating a buzz.
And awareness.
Yeah.
And,
They're talking about it a lot. They had a massive audience, like enough to gain traction. And then that obviously helps grow it even bigger. So when we're looking at ourselves as solopreneurs, like standalone business owners doing our dog training thing, it's that question we have to ask ourselves in going, if we really want the passive side to work well for us, then how can we make that our focus so that we ultimately, I'd argue that the first place anybody should start if they're thinking about doing the passive income space is A, come up with the idea. And again, I feel like I'm blanketing everybody in this as a bit of a general sweeping statement, but I feel like for the majority of us, myself included, as dog trainers, the default position is those courses that you've already alluded to, like let's do something on recall or your loose lid, or do you know, like your basic air quote exercises. But if that doesn't necessarily align with your mission and the reason why your business exists, then A, is it going to work? And B, if the answer is no, how can you create something that would be suitable for that space for your audience?